Welcome to side event from grassroots to global young people as the SDGs ambassadors at local level. In organization of permanent mission of the Republic of Croatia, United Nations and Impress Association. This event is side event of Economic and Social Council Youth Forum COVID-19 Recovery, Youth Taking Action for a Sustainable Future. By Agenda 2030, all state countries are obligated to fulfill 17 SDGs goals, and real challenge is to include youth in all topics. But what young people can do actively to contribute to this mission, we will present through this event. My first connection with importance of implementation of SDGs was 2 years ago when I was first UN Youth Delegate for Republic of Croatia, but also with experience of founding and leading Impress Association. As delegate with possibility of representing Croatia on different conferences, I was asking myself how to include all young people to this topic. Why young people or decision makers from rural areas are not well informed, how to inform them and how to include them in implementation in a local level. We can implement them only together. This is how I started with different NGOs initiative of including all people that want to be active part of implementing goals in this section. We have made a project, SDGs, Bring Croatian Youth Together, SDGs Ambassadors. The project began in Croatia and has to spread on other European countries. It's still open for cooperations. The goal is to make all actions more approachable for young people, to recognize positive initiatives around the world and give them importance. In this conference, we will present young heroes and their contribution to continue the mission of creating a better world through implementing 17 SDGs goals. Also with us are different experts. A dozen of activities have taken place within the project. One of them is educational camp with 100 participants from all around the world. National Mental Health Conference, United Nations Day celebration, the podcast that brings closer young people and decision makers. Before we start, we want to inform you that we are recording the event and we are going live on Facebook of Impress. If any of you don't want to be a part of it, you are free also to exclude. Today we have important speakers and I want to congratulate Diana Delaye, representative of Permanent Mission of the Republic of Croatia to the United Nations, New York. Domagoj Bačić, Special Advisor for Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development in the Government of Croatia. SDGs Ambassadors from Croatia, Nikolina, Matej, and Richmond. Also Eva Reina, Svjetlana Marion, Josip Perkušić, UN Youth Representative from the Republic of Croatia, Pavel Škoko-Gavranović. Welcome. And also I want to emphasize that it's important that we have all of you with us from different parts of the world. And the audience is the most important for us. And this virtual meeting is also a possibility to connect and to spread this initiative. Organizer of this event is our permanent mission of the Republic of Croatia to the United Nations in cooperation in Impress Association. And I'm glad that I can give a word to Diana Delaye, a representative of mission. Diana, welcome.
Hello, dear colleagues. Allow me to greet you from the permanent mission of Croatia to the UN in New York. We are glad that we managed to organize this side event with Association for Positive Affirmation of Youth in Society, which combines two things, the voice of youth and the voice of civil society. When Croatia presented its first VNR in 2019, with the second one planned for 2013, we realized that what we need is a stronger inclusion of youth and civil society in the implementation of the SDGs. Because young people are the drivers of changes, and the civil society provides us with an additional and valuable picture of the situation on the ground. We also realized that in order to intensify the implementation of Agenda 2030 in Croatia, we need to engage at the local, regional, and national level within the country. In this sense, we were thrilled to discover the work of SDG Ambassadors, and we are glad that today at ECOSOC 2022 Youth Forum, they will have an opportunity to present their work, and by doing so, motivate other young people. The SDG Ambassadors complement the work of the Croatian UN Youth Delegate in the best possible way. As an ECOSOC member from the beginning of 2022, Croatia continues to advocate for sustainable recovery from COVID-19, and our main roadmap is Agenda 2030, whereby Croatia is putting a special emphasis on One Health approach, which will be addressed by our UN representative in the coming discussion. To achieve our goals till 2030, we need strong involvement from the society as a whole, meaning from all the stakeholders. And that is why we are here today. And without further ado, back to you, Tanya.
Thank you, Diana. And for sure, as you mentioned, this event will encourage young people all around the world that are really active on implementing SDGs, not only today to present their action, but also for future actions. And we are really glad that with us is also representative of Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development in the government of Croatia, Domagoj Bačić, a special advisor of minister. This ministry is the first one that actually we contact when we start this project, and we are very glad that we have really good cooperation on all our events. Domagoj.
Thank you, Tanya. I'm very glad to be here. Distinguished guests, organizers, colleagues, and panelists, esteemed Mrs. Delaye, I cordially greet you on behalf of the Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development. I'm extremely honored to participate in this event, which I am sure will contribute to the development and promotion of the SDGs, and that will also change the paradigm of world development. I would especially like to thank our UN Youth representative, who is doing his job at the highest level and who represents Croatia in all its glory in this promotion. In this challenging time that follows us, it seems that our hopes that one crisis will end and that we will return to normal life have been destroyed. Very often during crisis, we forget our goals that should improve our future. Very likely it's because crisis takes us back and brings something bad. But sustainable development must be something from which we will build a world for new generations. That is why sustainable development goals represent a guideline from which we can build a new world. That is why I would like to call on everyone at the beginning to jointly promote SDG 16 so that peace can reign in the world and that the war in Ukraine ends as soon as possible. Speaking of Croatia, the government of Croatia and Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development have decided that in 2030, Croatia will be a competitive, innovative, and secure country with a recognizable identity and culture, a country of preserved resources, quality living conditions, and equal opportunities for all. Our commitment towards a sustainable Croatia in which the health of citizens comes first and stems from a clean environment requires that the financing of projects must take into account environmental components, but also compatibility with the goals of sustainable development. Therefore, in order to be able to talk about achieving climate neutrality in the coming decades, it will be necessary to increase investment in a comprehensive transformation that will bring the conventional model of economy closer to our national priorities and high climate ambitions. The Republic of Croatia is strongly committed to decarbonization and plans a major development of renewable energy capacities by 2030. But it is certainly important that such a strong development of renewable energy sources is aligned with strong development of research and innovation related to decarbonization, especially the development of new technologies. Water and sea management and protection have an important role to play in achieving the objectives of European Green Plan, in particular in terms of zero pollution to protect the health of European citizens by preventing water pollution. Especially we have to take into account the growing phenomenon of pharmaceutical and microplastic pollution. That is why Croatia is amongst the first countries which banned medium microplastic bags so that we can protect our environment even better. In particular, the aim is to eliminate pollution at source, thus prevent it, reduce pressures on water resources, and prevent overuse of water, improve monitoring of water quality, prevent further water pollution, and improve the management of nutrition in the common policy in order to reduce their impact on water. Once again, I would like to thank the organizers for the invitation and wish them a successful event, which I will have to leave at some point due to extraordinary and unforeseen circumstances. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tanya, and thank you to the entire UN team.
Thank you, Domago, and thank you for presenting what Croatia is doing according to SDGs. And we really hope this is actually just beginning for even better cooperation with all young people around the world. And this is also why we are giving now floor to young people and to our representative of SDGs ambassadors. As you mentioned, actually crisis take us back, but we're really hoping that young people will lead us further and will help us with implementation. Some of them that we choose for this conference are Richmond Frimpong. Richmond, can we hear you? Can you in 3 minutes present us what have you done according to SDGs?
Okay, thank you so much, Tanya. Hi, everyone. My name is Richmond, and I just want to present what my contributions towards the SDG goals that has been set for all of us. And I'd like to thank everyone who is here, the UN team. Thank you for organizing this program. Thank you so much. Now, last 2 years, I visited Croatia, and I saw amazing work in Croatia. I was, so much inspired to see the development of the SDG goals that realize itself through the trainings that were given to people, young people. They have amazing info centers there that, update youth on current trends. And I was so much inspired by that. And I was also an SDG ambassador myself. So I decided to pick from what they were doing and also try and localize it in my community. So basically, what I have been able to do through my organization, and I have a faith-based organization as well. And what I've been able to do to fulfill the SDGs was in terms of education and gender equality. So before I just talk further, I'd just like to allow if Tanya could give me the opportunity to share a little my screen, and then I just want us to just watch something about gender equality. Now, this initiative we took in Ghana.
Okay, it's shared, so you can connect.
Okay, we took an initiative in Ghana called the Sdg Goal initiative. Now, the Sdg Goal initiative, we realized that in Ghana, a lot of women have the urge to engage in sports, but the society don't really give them the opportunity to share that, to realize their dreams. So what we did was that we decided to organize a Sdg Goal tournament, and then we brought little girls and older women from all different parts of the schools in Ghana, and then we made them meet at a particular place, and then we organized a tournament for them. Now, these were all girls. There were no guys, and it was so fun to see how these people could, enjoy themselves. And we realized that there was unequal representation of, when it comes to football, when it comes to athletes, there was an unequal representation when it comes to women, and men. in terms of athletes. So we decided that, okay, hey, you guys have dreams, you guys have aspirations. We want to ensure that these aspirations come to pass so that at the end of the day, I'm trying to open it. So at the end of the day, you are not going to give up on your dreams. You are going to be encouraged to do what you're doing. Yes. So a moment as I, all right. So as you can see, we organized this program for these women, and they were able to, demonstrate their skills, their intention to, carry on their dreams, and we not only focused on only one area. We decided that in the coming months, in the coming years, we are going to ensure that we take this initiative to all the other, regions in Ghana, basically where my foundation is. So that is what we are trying to do, to ensure that all these women, all these young girls will carry their potential. We give them awards, we give them medals as well. So now it is said that when you motivate somebody, the person will be able to carry on their dreams. So we give them medals, we give them awards to make them feel motivated. And that is what we did in Ghana. Now, in the area of education, we know that all the other SDGs, depends on the quality education that SDG number 4 offers us. We know that all the other SDGs depend on that. So what we try to do is to organize a program. Now we took advantage of the World Menstrual Hygiene Day. We took advantage of that and we went to schools, senior high schools, and then we met with the principals and we decided that, okay, we're going to give sanitary pads to young girls, and then also teach them that, hey, no matter what, you are going through at that, stage of your life, it's still normal. And we taught them how to be able to keep themselves clean, because in Africa, the situation is quite worse there. But, we were able to penetrate into them and localize these SDGs to them. Now, when we talk about localizing these SDGs in our localities, you ask yourself, it is a global agenda.
I just need to inform you that you have 1 minute more. It's really interesting.
Okay, thank you so much. It is a global agenda. And sometimes you find yourself, you ask yourself, why is it that, we go for meetings like this, we receive, I receive ideas, contributions, and then we ask ourselves, is it possible to realize it in our locality? Yes, it is. It is very much possible, no matter what in your own level. Now, for me personally, one thing that it took somebody to teach me how to use a cutlery set. And for me, the person, in a way, was able to make me realize that SDG goals can be even taught by even a little girl. You see, so it is amazing what we are doing, So thank you, Tanya, for this opportunity. I think this is what I have to say now. Thank you so much.
Thank you also, Richmond. And this is a real example how one initiative from Croatia can go really worldwide. And why we want to present SDGs ambassadors that are now active and young people that are active. The reason is also that you, our audience, can maybe took some ideas, and maybe if we cooperate later, maybe you can get an idea how you can implement the same. Richmond, you mentioned quality education, and we are very glad that you mentioned it, because later on we will have also as a speaker Bolshich, that is expert in this area. This is really like the first thing that we need to think about when we are talking about SDGs. And with us is also Mate Matic. So let's go back in Croatia. Mate is from Šibenik, and he also included in this section. Mate, welcome.
Hello everyone, thank you for inviting me. I will respect my 3 minutes. So I will summarize a few things which we did in the past 2 years, COVID permitting. So I can even just say about our exhibition, which was organized in 2 cities in Šibenik County in the south of Croatia, which is Spiro for Rights. That was the exhibition. First idea came from Spiro magazine and the UN department from Human Rights. That idea came then in Croatia from our trainee in our organization in Šibenik, and the aim was to show to young people, to the youngsters, in one youth-friendly way to present Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And then we made in the last year many cleaning actions and tree planting actions with our international volunteers. I believe that some of them are even today with us here. And just to long story short, this wasn't my ideas. This was the ideas of these young persons. We know that lately the Generation Z in the recent years became very aware of the global issues, and they are really pushing forward to meet the SDGs. The important thing is that local organizations, national organizations, like one in which I'm working, that we give one stimulating environment for these young people where they can act. So I believe that our organizations, mine, yours, Tanya, or our organizations of other participants who are here, can be a great example how to give these tools to the young people who have already ideas and who are maybe acting in their daily life, contributing to the SDGs without knowing that. And thanks to this event and events like this, we can popularize the SDGs actions, how to contribute to SDGs, and give example to other young people and the stakeholders. I think that I'm within 3 minutes.
Thank you, Matt. And what is more important, he really encouraged more young people in his community. And with us is also Nikolina Blažanović. Nikolina actually made a lot of podcasts with decision makers, and this is why she is chosen as SDG ambassador to present her work. Also, I want to emphasize and thank to all SDGs ambassadors that are today with us, but also people that maybe are not yet part of the network, but they actually are doing in daily life a lot to implement these goals, because it is all important, but this network is more to share different opinions and maybe to spread implementation of SDGs goals. So, Nikolina Blažanović, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here with you today. So what I wanted to do with youth and with this project is actually to connect with young people. But it's really hard, especially in my part of Croatia, to get young people in one place. It's really hard. So I decided to go into their homes, and I decided to do YouTube shows on different topics that young people actually said that they were interested in. So I did shows on entrepreneurship, finances, volunteering, participation. And then one topic they actually wanted to know more about was politics. And we were just doing our local elections, and I decided to have a survey on what the youth actually thought were the main political problems in our part of Croatia. And I invited the candidates of the election to come. I presented the survey and I asked them, what are your solutions? And that show actually got 600 or more views. You can actually still find it on YouTube. It's called Youth O'Clock. And I think this was a great way to connect with youth and to actually talk about topics that are important and that they care about, but they don't have to go anywhere. They can be in their homes and know a lot of things about a lot of things that they're really interested in. So that was my little project, and I hope you can learn something from it.
Thank you, Nicolina. And what is important about Nicolina, she put young people in opposite roles. So she has made podcasts with a lot of decision makers on local levels and actually ask them and give them a place, a spot to present what they have done about implementation of SDGs goals and how they're planning to include young people. This is also the point, because usually young people are on different part of the table, and usually young people can only be part of decision making process when decision makers are calling them. So this is why these podcasts are important way maybe of giving a spot to young people and asking decision makers actually how they will include young people. Thank you, Nicolina, Richmond, and Mate. Thank you for everything what you have done, but also thanks to all of our SDGs ambassadors. When we are coming to informing young people about SDGs, we cannot go without Erika. So I'm glad that with us we have Director of the European Youth Information and Counseling Agency, whose mission is to inform young people about opportunities and has experience in promoting SDGs. Please welcome Eva Reina.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation and for the opportunity to be here today with you. I'm going to focus on one particular tool that we have developed within the ERICA network. We do, as you can imagine, youth information is something that covers so many topics and so many things that are very much transversal and that touch up on many different SDGs. But since in 3 minutes I cannot talk about everything, I will focus on one particular guide that we developed together with another network called the Eurodesk network of youth information providers, and which is more focused on environmental sustainability. So everything that is more related to sustainable development goals, 11, for instance, that is on sustainable cities and communities, or responsible consumption, and of course, climate action. We developed this guide in 2020. It's called Greening Youth Information Services, but don't misunderstand me. It's not just related to how to make youth information services greener. It is very practical, it is very hands-on, and it can be used by youth work providers, by youth services, or any service that is not necessarily just related to youth organizations, youth centers, youth clubs, even schools. Can find a lot of material there and a lot of content. And we aim in a way to position ourselves in this guide or through this guide on how, as youth information providers, how can we actually respond to climate change? How can we support young people in terms of activism? And we provide first some like theoretical background, okay, to understand what is the position of information and more specialized information services for young people. We provide them tips for how the services can better adapt to support young people when it comes to different aspects related to environmental sustainability. Good practice examples of different projects to do with young people. We also provide educational activities in a sort of toolbox. And at the same time, at the end, we provide some policy recommendations on how to advocate for sustainability in terms of environment. Maybe since I don't have a lot of time, I will just maybe highlight the 3 main areas in which we base our guide. I mean, in terms of positioning information on climate change, We had 3 pillars identified. The first one, it was relating on the role that youth information providers have on enhancing media and information literacy on climate change narratives. So we know that climate change is something very scientific. It's something that is based on science, but despite that, there are a lot of hoaxes. There is a lot of disinformation, conspiracy theories around circulating, especially online, that contradict what actually science says. So we find that there is a role indeed in services for young people in terms of information to help them look at media content with a critical eye, to help them identify, select the information, use it, multiply it based on reliable sources. At the same time, we find that there is an important role as well for youth information services to support informed decision-making on young people on how to respond as well to these narratives that are not real on climate change. And at the same time as well, we can support in the development of more efficient information search and communication strategies that can also contribute to make internet searches more with lower carbon footprints. Because as I don't know if you're aware that whenever we click, it doesn't mean that it's green. There is a lot of CO2 emissions that are caused by every time that we make searches on Google or any other search engine. And the second pillar in which we focus on this guide is regarding the promotion of active citizenship and engagement of young people in environmental sustainability. We don't want to take ownership of this, of the movements of young people as climate activists, because it's something that is very much youth-led. But we have also realized that when it comes to climate change, when it comes to environmental sustainability, not all young people are concerned in the same way. And sometimes we may find that some young people, usually with fewer opportunities, feel less concerned about climate change, when in the end it's proven that usually the more vulnerable communities are the ones that suffer more the consequences of climate change. So we find that there is an important aspect of expanding information on climate change activism to make all young people, without any kind of exclusion, informed about why it's important to be active and to protect the environment. And then the third pillar is related to ourselves applying greener practices, understanding how these practices can be applied in terms of service providers, and also how to make educational activities more, greener, more sustainable, that we don't print too much, or that we don't produce gadgets for young people that are made of plastic, and that we try to incorporate to the way we work with young people, or that youth organizations work, models of acting that are more in line with what we are preaching. So there is a second chapter, a big chapter on this.
It's like a half minute.
Okay, I'm about to finish, Tanya. I'm about to finish. Then, based on these 3 pillars, we work indeed on making, giving some tools, very practical tools. Then we provide educational activities, examples that can be made with young people addressing these 3 pillars. And in the end, we provide also policy recommendations on how to make youth projects and youth programs greener. And yeah, I think I'm done now.
Thank you. It was really good and nice to also have Erika here, because informing is the most important thing, especially in rural areas that we are talking about.
Of course.
Thank you for your time. And we are coming to the next speakers. So nothing goes without a person who will continue. Cooperation with civil sector is important, and I'm glad that both of you and youth delegates of Croatia till now recognize the importance of including young people on local levels and in these SDG networks. So with us is now UN Youth representative from the Republic of Croatia, Josip Perkušić. Josip, welcome.
Thank you for the given floor, dear Tanya. I'm happy that I can be here today and participate as the panelist on this side event of the annual Youth Forum of the United Nations. As they previously said to me that I will also represent the Central State Office for Demographic and Youth today, Firstly, I want to communicate the message from State Secretary Bolshich and her wish for great work today and her open door for every good, creative, and achievable proposal that comes from youth at any time. I'm especially happy that I can see my colleagues, youth delegates to the UN from other countries, and that is the sign that today's event is not only national, but also international, where we will have opportunity to represent work and devotion of youth in Croatia toward promotion and realization of the SDG. For the end of my introduction, I would like to use this opportunity to praise the hardworking approach of Ms. Diana Delay, today's representative on behalf of Permanent Mission of Croatia to the UN, in every task that we had and have in front of us directed to the SDGs projects and its realization. At the beginning, I can say that exhibited actions from youth activists that we had opportunity to see today are absolutely the example of good practice from youth and result of what we started with the Conference of Youth as the SDGs Ambassadors in Croatia on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of the UN. I'm also honored because I'm one of the coordinators of that project, and it's good to see great results from that youth work. Now I will pass to the One Health approach, the concept that we emerge in Croatia together with Permanent Mission of Croatia to the UN, Ministry of Health and its Chancellor Ms. Katalinić Janković and Central State Office for Demographic and Youth. In the early beginning, Croatian delegation in New York participated in negotiation at the UN level about public health questions in search for an answer to the current alone and all future pandemics, and has decided to be the promoter of the concept called One Health. That concept considers the health of people, animals, and the nature as unique biosystem whose aim is to ensure the health of people by maintaining the health and purity of other components. We decided to introduce the same concept to all interested citizens in Croatia, especially the youth who want to be the agents of change in their communities. Organizing various activities within this project, we are on the good way to achieve even 4 SDGs in Croatia, precisely good health and well-being, clean water and sanitation, climate action, and life below water. For the end, I would like to invite the youth present here today to join this praiseworthy initiative and become one of the youth change makers, because that abstract and often spoken words about change start from every individual in its action. Thank you.
Thank you, Josip. And as Josip mentioned, like all young people should be also included in further actions. And with us is also Svetlana Marion, member of the European Economic and Social Committee, youth worker, project leader for thematic network for youth activation, funded by European Social Fund. It is important to mention that this thematic network is consisting of 17 different NGOs, and NGOs are really important in implementing SDG goals. Svetlana is here also as a decision maker, as she is a member of EXO. Svetlana, welcome.
Thank you, Tanya. And good afternoon, evening or morning, depending on which part of the world you are in now. I welcome you as member of the European Economic and Social Committee of the European Union. I'm glad that the United Nations has a youth forum of the Economic and Social Council. As a young woman, I find that in Croatia an association that provides support to young people and to people with disabilities. Personally, working at the local level, I make sure every day that there are young people who want and can do a lot of things for the benefit of the local community. I can testify by my example that it is very difficult to work if there is no support and understanding. I am currently working on the project which Tanya say, Youth Activation Network. The project brings together 16 associations, NGOs, and 2 scientific institutions, and we are working to development the youth sector in Croatia and strengthen youth activation in the local community. The youth sector is a rapidly changing space. It is marked by rapid change. Organizations operating in the youth sector are struggling to survive. Only a few are held for more than 10 years. I'm very proud that my organization, the association Zamisli or Imagine, has been active for 17 years. There are very few associations in Croatia that work with young people and have a history of more than 10 years. One of these associations is the Impress Association, to which I congratulate on the organization of this event. I believe that many body and politicians on our planet Earth will follow the example of the United Nations and recognize the effort, energy, and time invested in youth around the world, and will give opportunity, support, and trust to associations that have long working experience and experience with young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Svetlana. 17 years of Zamisli are the same like 17 SDG goals. Okay, it's heavy not to mention and not to know this. So thank you, Svetlana. She's very active in non-formal education, but our next speaker is a professor that research about importance of education, formal one, in context of local activism and equal opportunities, also in context of SDGs. With us is Professor Bolshich.
Thank you, Tanya. Good afternoon also, or good morning or good evening for everyone. I'm very thankful, Tanya, for invitation, and it's my pleasure to be here. As you mentioned, I'm the full professor and I'm a scientist in education, but I will use also this opportunity to greet all of you as a member of some main educational bodies in Croatia, which currently develop the educational policy in the context of the major Croatian reform, which will be performed in Croatian educational system. As you know, the education is really very, very important SDG goals, one of the goals, and it's really my pleasure to have opportunity now to speak with you and just to call you as SDG ambassadors to join to our effort in Croatia to change educational system. We are targeted to working on concept of all-day schooling in Croatia, because this is very important way to make modernization of educational system and to offer better education to many different group of students. The second main goals which we targeted is related to early childhood education, because the Croatia is actually the country which doesn't have at the moment the good situation regarding to coverage of early childhood education. And then we should harmonize the early childhood education and the system of primary and secondary education in Croatia. And we are targeted also to many aspects, to also to SDG goals, because at the end, there is only one major goal, that means to provide for every child the place in educational system that they can fulfill all potential, that they could realize themselves, to make self-actualization for every person, for every students to be active member of the society, to be active member of Croatian society, European society, world society, and also at the end to be better on the marketplace and to acquire during the education the skills which will improve the well-being and quality of life, and which will improve the Croatian economy and Croatian innovation potential. At this trace, thanks again. It was really, or it is my pleasure to be still with you. And I'm calling all of you, especially the SDG ambassadors who are interested to work in education, to join our effort and to work together with us to make educational system better. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, and thank you for following us also on our different conferences, because also your presence in our conferences give us actually more enthusiasm, and we are glad that you're also giving a time to young people. With us is also Pavel Gavranovic. He is youth activist, but also he was one of our trainers in one international education camp that was held in August with 100 young people. Pavel, welcome.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for this opportunity, and thank you for the introduction about the camp. Just short about me, I have close to 14 years of experience in the NGO and nonprofit sectors. I have a bachelor in political science, hopefully a master in a few months, and then hopefully a PhD in a few years after that. What we were doing last summer around the 12th of August, the International Youth Day, we had the International Youth Week. It was a camp attended with more than 100 participants from Croatia and from different countries, since we integrated a certain amount of Erasmus Plus activities within the camp. Our goal was, when we have SDGs, we are looking at them as a global level initiative, and we are trying to put it down into a local level initiative. We see young people as those who can carry on the torch of SDGs and track how they're implemented in their local communities, meaning we want to give them, first, the knowledge of what are SDGs. Second, how can they implement them in certain activities? Should there be political-oriented activities, protest-oriented activities, policy-making activities, workshops, etc. And third, we want to show them and teach them the basics of, let's say, lobbying, or how can they advocate for young people goals within their local community. And basically the project held in Croatia, where we had several dozen SDG ambassadors in every single county of Croatia, showed that young people really do connect more than any other social group within our societies with sustainable development goals. This shouldn't surprise us, because the world which we are going to live in one day is the world we're creating today. So we do have a certain obligation, not only to those who are coming after us, but really to ourselves, to create a certain foundation for a system and a world which will be, first of all, we'll have peace, and the whole situation in Ukraine really isn't helping it, but also which will have sustainable cities, which will have good food supply all around the world, which will have quality education connected to the workplace, connected to one day a workplace where you can move up the ladder, not just in terms of pay, but in terms of learning skills, gaining new knowledge, and providing back to your society. And this, what we did, was a sort of dissemination of the effects of our project held on a national level. And the camp was basically a 3-step way to learn about the SDGs, how to implement the SDGs, and how to advocate for them. So basically, this is just for the beginning. I'll be really happy to answer all of your questions, and I'm hoping you will have some.
Thank you, Pavel. And now we are also opening floor for questions and answers. At least our speakers will try to answer to all of them, or if we don't know something, we will let you know later. But also I'm using a moment to invite you to fill the form that we send you in chat, because we will issue for all of you confirmation of attendance certificates. But to be able to do this, we need your name, surname, and email so we can send you. Also, we add question about this event, something like a short evaluation that you are not obligated to fill in, but we would really like to hear more about your feelings, about your thoughts, and we invite you in chat. You have a form. So now we are opening floor for eventual questions. Do we have some?
I have question.
Nicola, we saw your hand. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I can unmute. I have a question for Shkoko. Currently we're talking about, when we talk about SDGs, we usually flip the whole conversation to, let's say, on the governmental level. But I would like to know if you know any examples of on a local level, the local government trying to implement and successfully implementing SDGs. That's my question.
Okay, I can answer immediately, Tanya. Yeah, thanks. So thank you for the question, Nicola. When we talk about the SDGs, they seem a bit abstract, and that's what I was talking about. We need to bring them down to local level. You have Sdg Goal 11, which is linked to sustainable cities. And one of the sub-goals within that group is how far away is your tram or bus station from your home. They actually specify urban policies which should be implemented for young people to have accessible, not just young people, for all people to have accessible public transportation. And the concrete example I can give, here in my hometown, Zagreb, we had a newly built neighborhood, fairly newly, let's say 30 years maybe old. It didn't have a tram stop. And there was an existing tram line, so just they needed to add like 2 concrete basins on each side, and that's it. That would be a tram stop. So it wasn't really something expensive or hard for the city to do, but we had an initiative like with one of our youth organizations, and it actually worked. This was just at the beginning of SDGs, so it kind of corresponded. We did try start before SDGs were introduced, but this is something you can do, which is concrete. You should look at your local infrastructure, local government, and see what you need. Basically, when you need it, then you should go look at SDGs. You'll probably find some form you can hang it on to and say, look, you need to do this because the UN says you need to do it, because if you're in the European Union, they say you need to do it, and so on and so on. Basically, every single country in the world is a signatory to the agenda, which promotes sustainable development goals, which means you can link your problem, your needs to them. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have more questions? Maria?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Maria Hodel, and I'm a law student at University of Zagreb. I have a question also for Pavel Škoko-Gavranović. And my question is, how can we follow the implementation of our community about this? Yes, what we have had speak.
If I understood correctly, this would be a question about informing and getting information about SDGs, right?
Yes, SDGs, yes.
Okay, thank you. What Reina from Erica said, they actually have the best place you can get good information, but you can also go directly to the UN site. I do believe it's sdgs.un.org or something like that. But if you type in SDGs UN, you will find the website with all 17 goals displayed there, and you can click on each one of them and look in a nice infographic, really user-friendly infographic where you have explained sub-goals and where you can really find all the information you need.
Thank you.
about this question, we would also like to hear Ms. Diana Delaye. I have also in my messenger question for Diana. So young people have the question also about how to follow the implementation of SDGs in our community. So you have opportunity to be in higher level, but what we can do actually in our community, and do you have maybe some other good practices from different countries?
Well, thank you for this question. In my introductory lines, I mentioned VNRs. These are voluntary national reviews of the implementation of the SDGs in the UN member states. So every year in UN in July, we have a high-level meeting on implementation of SDGs, and important segment of this are VNRs. So countries every 2 to 3 years come in the UN on a very high level, and they present what did they achieve in the sense of set goals of Agenda 2030, but also targets. So Croatia had its first VNR in 2019. And while we were having this presentation at the UN, we realized that we lack the participation of youth in this process. That's why we are organizing this event. That's why we want you to be included in this process once we start the preparation of the new VNR, which should be this autumn, because we want to present the new VNR in 2023. So basically, if you just, for each of your countries, if you just Google VNR and write the name of your country, you will get the very detailed description of what your country is doing on all goals and all targets. I really encourage you to send us all your projects, all that you are doing in this sense on the local, regional, national level. You can send it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to the Ministry of Regional Development and EU funds. You can send it to your UN delegates, and we want to gather all this information, and we want to present them in our VNRs. So I think this is a very valuable instrument that the UN developed, and that has two functions. Basically, it motivates countries to work on the implementation of SDGs, to familiarize the community with the whole process, but it also gives the UN an opportunities to see what the countries are doing to really fulfill its commitments and implement Agenda 2030 till 2030. So that would be from me. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for this valuable information for all young people that are here with us, but also with leaders of NGOs. So you can actually send your initiatives to ministry, and it's really important because you are the one that are on the field and that are on local levels implementing SDGs goals. Do we have maybe more questions?
Sorry, Tanya, not question, but just a small addition to the answer to Nicola from Bulgaria. He was interested how to contribute to SDGs on the local level. Maybe if he has idea to make a project and he needs finance resources. If I remember well, even in this publication of Eurodesk America, there are all kinds of fundings of local activities like Erasmus, UN funds, and so on which he or the nearest organization to him can apply. Just that.
It would be great if we could make like a composite list of all these funds. That would be really informative, like a chart. Something, I don't know.
Eva, please can you confirm? I think that there is on the publication.
There was something about it. There was something about the links where you can find more information about different sources. I posted on the chat the link to the guide. And maybe there is not like all the specific information, but there are links that are connected to different sources of funding. And just I mentioned as well in the chat, is available in different languages. Unfortunately, it's not available in Croatian, but it's not just available in English, the guide.
Thank you.
Okay, Tanya, I want to say something. So in response to the first question that was asked, I just wanted to add this to the fact that the SDGs are more of individualistic than global level, because global level we have people who are who have set these goals for all of us to follow. So here's the case that now we have about 7 billion people on the face of this earth, more than that. Now, being in this conference alone is also playing your role as an SDG person. Because what are you doing? You are taking knowledge inside you. So in a way, you can make the SDGs, localize them at your own level. When you see somebody who does not have a cloth to wear, giving the person a cloth to wear is what you are acting like an SDG ambassador. So in a way, you are fulfilling it. In 2030, by 2030, we expect that we don't leave any person behind. That is the goal. But if we can be able to play our own role locally where we are, in the community where we live, we can fulfill this SDG goals. Thank you so much.
Do we have maybe more comments? We have some time, so.
I have one question. May I? Okay, very good. I have a question on which responsibilities do United Nations ambassadors have?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. What responsibilities may ambassadors of United Nations have?
Okay, I will answer to this question. So one of responsibility is to choose goal that you want to put on focus. So there is 17 goals, and when you choose the goal that you want to put on focus, you are implementing these goals and you're promoting them. Also, we are all the time in the contact, and hopefully now Corona has finished, and we are really hoping that next time we can meet all together, but live, not online, so that we can cooperate more together and share what have you done to implement SDGs goals. So what we have noticed that, as Richmond also mentioned and Diana mentioned, SDGs goals are usually concluded in higher levels, and implementation and expectation to implement them are on higher levels. But each of us can do something to implement them. Even small action are leading to results. So also United Nations started the program Act Now. So you can visit the web page Act Now, where you can find even small steps that you can do on personal level to help with implementation. Also we have one more question, I think. I hope I answered your question, and if you're more interested about SDG ambassadors,
yes, thank you.
I encourage you, thank you for the question also, and I encourage you to fill this form, because in the end of this form that I send you in the chat, we ask people maybe that are not SDGs ambassadors, we ask if you want to be part of the network. So you want to include in this network, and we will be in contact, and we will have another meetings according to this. Also, as SDG ambassador, you can have promotional materials that we will give you, so you can promote SDGs more. Okay, so we have, I think, question from Martin.
Hello, Tanya, can you hear me? I have a question, but I don't actually know who is it aimed to, probably Diana or somebody else. I want to know because is there any way to encourage NGOs in implementing SDGs? And are there any more examples on good examples on how to do it? Because at the moment, the NGOs are doing it from their own perspective or something like that. But how to encourage even more NGOs to join in that activity to promote SDGs and implement them in their own work? That's something that is interesting for me as a perspective from the NGO.
Okay, I can say from my perspective as NGO, but maybe Diana also, you can let us know maybe some another ways how NGOs can be more included in this kind of action or implementation of SDGs. And before Diana answers the question, I encourage you once again to fill the form, evaluation form that we send you. For now, we have 47 answers, and here is more than 100 in Zoom. And this is the way how we can issue your confirmation certificate. So please fill the form so we can send you an email your certificate. Then I think Martin asked the question about NGOs.
I will be very honest now because I have been watching countries doing VNRs now for 4 years. So you have this situation which for many countries, SDGs are still not a familiar concept, and this is a fact. So when, like through this obligation by the UN to do VNR, the countries are usually, when they are doing it for the first time, very nervous. They involved usually only the public sector. And then as they do it for the second time, they learn that they have to involve youth and that they have to involve civil society. Why? Because this panel, when VNR looks like this, there is 5 or 4 representatives from the country, and they are giving a PowerPoint presentation on every SDG, on every target. And when it finishes, the questions follow. And the UN makes sure that there are representatives from the civil society there, or even from the youth, and they're asking the questions to their own country, why we were not involved, how could we been more involved. And that's why usually when this process goes for the second or third time, the civil society is more involved in the process of making the VNR. And I'm sure that in the process that will follow, I can speak only in the case of Croatia, the ministries which will be in charge, and I do believe this will be the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Regional Development in EU funds, will include the civil society. There is always a question which civil societies bodies are involved, which are not, and here you have to show a bit on your side as well the initiative. We can see from the example of Tanya and Impressum, when it that it can work, that the public servants are responsive to the needs if the projects are good. And I think that we are being more and more open to it. So I will make sure personally that in this panel for the next Croatian VNR, there will be 1 seat for the youth and that there will be 1 seat for the civil society. So I really encourage you to not only to do more, but also to show what you have already done. And Tanya said that you will be informed even after this meeting about Sdg Ambassadors. I can personally, only through this channel, send you the last Croatian VNR. I can send you my contact. I can send you the contact of our colleagues in the ministries, and we can already start working. And I encourage all those who are not from Croatia to do the same in their own countries, because it is a process. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. It's really encouraging. And also the point of this event is to connect with each other. We can see this example of Croatia, and we hope that also other countries will follow it. We are really glad that it's going worldwide. And if we don't have any more questions, we would like to finish the event, but it will not be the last event that is international. Let's agree that it is actually some kind of first, this kind of conference that is side event. Once again, please fill the form for certificate, but also for next information that we will send you. So here you have in the chat, you have one form, so please fill the form. And do we have more questions, or we are ready to close the event?
Tanya, may I maybe add something on the last questions went from Martin? I don't want to use this as an advertisement space for our guide, but have a look, because there are many good practice examples at local level of NGOs of how they have done activities with young people to work on the sustainable development goals, and more particularly on the ones related to environmental sustainability. There are many practical examples from local level, from local NGOs that could be inspiring for you maybe.
2 minutes, if it is enough, we can use it for this presentation. Eva, can we hear you?
I think I cut my video because it seems my connection is not the best. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I was just encouraging Martin to have a look at the guides that I presented, because there are a lot of local examples of NGOs working on sustainable development goals with young people, on how to work on them, and more especially on the ones that focus on environmental sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you. So if you want to know more also about local actions, you can also contact actually Erika, because they have great examples how NGOs can be active in this part. Or we will also, in our next meetings, we will present other NGOs. For this day, we had like very limited time, but we see that you want to share your good practices, and it's really nice to hear it. That means that we have a lot to talk and a lot to discuss in our next meetings. I will use this moment also to invite all of you in our international educational camp that we will hold also in August again. And we will talk about SDGs. We will open application soon, and it is a free educational camp. And in this camp, you can have more information also about how to implement SDGs in local level. So SDGs are designed with a target and a focus, and by 2030 it's expected that we realize these 17 SDGs goals. These global goals depends on each of us. The localization of these goals rests upon our shoulders, and with collective efforts from every youth and old, we can realize these SDG goals. Yes, we can and we should. And I hope in next conference, we will have even more stories to share. So once again, fill the form, and I would like to greet you in the end. I want to thanks to everybody who take their time to this important topic, and I want to thank especially to Diana Delaya, one of the organizer from Permanent Mission. Without Diana, actually, it wouldn't be possible to organize it, and really thank you from both Josip and me each time. in New York, you're really big support for us. And it is really important to have you and to encourage and to recognize youth initiatives. Also want to thank to Domagoj Bačić, Eva Rina, Josip Perkušić, Nikolina Blažanović, Richman Frimpong, Mate Matić, Svjetlana Marion, Josip Burušić, Pavao Škoko-Gavranović, and I want to thank to all Impress team, because now I'm in front of the camera, but actually a lot of workers, volunteers, employees, they are the one that make this possible, and they're the one that were calling people, inviting people, informing them, and that are today with us. I wish also to everybody who celebrated Easter, happy Easter, and see you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you.